Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where we talk to authors from all over the world about their books. We want you to buy their books. We go through, our producers and interns go through thousands of social media posts, and they find the most interesting authors and invite them on the show. And that's where we get our authors. But also we have many viewers who are writing books of their own, and they just can't quite get to the end where they put that pencil down and move to the next step. And trust me, the next steps are maybe bigger than writing the book sometimes. So I love to bring on authors who have done it, who've gone through the process, got the book written, got the book published, and then we bring them on the show and talk to them about their experience. Our next guest is author Scott Brearley. Did I say it right, Scott?
Yes, you did.
Scott Brearley. I'm going to put the cover up for a second just as a teaser. My Perfect Storm, a story to be told. A 50-year journey from chaos to calm. Welcome, Scott. Tell us a little bit about that book.
Well, for years, I've struggled with addiction. And actually, I'll start off today. I'm 21 years sober.
Wow. Congratulations.
And I struggled for years before that to get sober, in and out of recovery and in and out of recovery. And people through the years had kind of bugged me a little bit. Maybe you should write a book, because I have a pretty interesting story, a lot of trauma in the background, a lot of accidents. And so I decided through my wife to put pen to paper, well, on the computer, and started writing it about a year and a half ago. And it just started slowly unfolding, and it was kind of neat watching it, and painful, because there's a lot of me that wishes I was a better man and a better human being than I was in the past. And today I realize a lot of it stems from not being able to deal with the trauma that I had put in my life, physical, mental, and emotional. And from there, it's like, and the biggest reason I wrote it is, like, I have Scott, I'm a life coach, and I want to help people. And this is my one way of helping people, of letting them know they're not alone. Because that's one of the biggest things when we're at our bottom. It's like nobody's felt like us. And it's not true. Even the little old lady that goes to church every Sunday has felt the same despair as I have. I just medicated it. And she learned how to deal with it. And that's not saying the little old lady at church couldn't have medicated it too, but...
Yeah. Let's go back a bit. I have this picture of you, pretty young kid there. It looks a little beat up. What happened?
Well, no, at 7, I was a little prankster when I was a kid, and I stole a girl's skipping rope behind my house, and she went, "I'm going to go tell Mom." So I guess, and this is, I don't really know this part of the story, but I guess I dropped the skipping rope and ran across the road, and I got hit by a car, and I got dragged for 40 yards.
Oh, boy.
I had 2 broken legs, a broken arm, and a fractured skull, and my lung collapsed. I've been told, my parents were told to make arrangements that I wasn't going to make it. And then, ironically enough, my grandfather was on a honeymoon, and he was like my old pal. And when they didn't call him and tell him, and they waited till he came home, and when he came right to the hospital, and I guess he started yelling at me, like, "Up and at him, boy, up and at him, boy." And I guess that's when I did my transition. And it's kind of ironic, because that's how my life's unfolded. I'm one of those, I need it kind of hard, not soft approach.
Yeah.
So.
And tell us what happens from there. I don't need to spoil the book. We want people to read the book, but give us an idea.
I mean, I had to learn how to walk again. I was kept back in school. Today I've learned from the head trauma, like my aunts and uncles and my parents always said, "You were such a nice boy before the accident." And I mean, I'm not blaming them, because we didn't know, like, the doctors didn't know what head trauma did.
Yeah.
And today we do, right? Or we have more knowledge of what it does and more help.
So it changed your personality?
I became a brat, like a nightmare. Wow. And I did what I wanted, and it was like the consequences didn't matter. And So it was a big, huge shift in my life. And I don't really remember much before the accident, but after the accident, like I remember I had to learn how to, I was riding a tricycle again with a kid younger than me. So I was embarrassed, and my friends that rode bikes ridiculed me. And I mean, because that's the stuff we did back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I don't know. I got some other pictures here that will unfold. Here's your dream car, by the way. What is that? A
it's a 69 Dodge Dart.
Dodge Dart, I'll be darned.
I'm not exactly sure if the year's right.
Yeah.
But my brother's buddy, I remember I was 10 or 11, and his friend's car broke down outside the house, and it was jacked up, and it looked really cool, and I decided I wanted one, and because of the way I lived my life for years, it was just like, there's no way I'll ever get one. And then I stayed sober long enough, and I kept working long enough, and finally, eventually, I could afford one.
Yeah.
And now I almost wish I didn't have it, because if somebody had said I would have 4 times the amount of money into it than it's worth, I probably wouldn't have bought it.
By the way, here's another picture of you with a pretty good-looking bike.
That's my Harley, and I get so much therapy for going riding. I'm a person that would rather be on a motorcycle than in a car. And there's also a story about that bike. It's orange, and it started black. And a week and a half before I met Lisa, I had a head-on collision on that bike
Oh, boy.
at 60K. And I literally walked away with hardly, like, just tissue damage. And my life's been like that. Like, it's been through accident and accident and accident. And I don't know where that stems from. I know that I've watched kids grow up underneath me that are kind of the same, that they're accident prone. And I don't know if I don't pay attention. I'm not sure. I don't know what happens, but
Now, you tell these stories of all these tragedies, but I feel like this book is going to end up being inspirational for a lot of people.
well, to go back a little bit, it's like I got sober the first time seriously at 20. At 21, at 21 and a half, I had like a year and a half sober. That was the first time I got loaded and relapsed. And to fast forward a story, in AA, you get sobriety. Every year you take a acknowledgement of your time. And I've had 6 one-year cakes, 3 2-year cakes, 3 3-year cakes, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s. And where my inspiration for me comes from, because I know there's a lot of people like me that have a hard time grasping the AA stuff. And when I did finally grasp it, for me, like, it really helped me with my alcoholism, but it never helped me with any of my trauma and my reactions and my anger and all this stuff. And I'm hoping I inspire people to go for outside help, because that's what I had to do. And, you know, I seen a trauma therapist, Kimberly Davidson, for probably 2.5 years, once a week. And thankfully I could afford to do it. And I know there's not a lot of people that can do it or afford it. But I just encourage people, if you're struggling, reach out. And it's one of the biggest reasons I'm becoming a coach, is because I want to help people achieve what I've achieved, or achieve what they would like to achieve. If you had told me 5 years ago I would have written a book, been married again, I would have laughed at you and said you were insane. But I'm living this life that it's so incredible that it's a fairy tale story, in my opinion, from where I come from.
Now, you're struggling with alcoholism, but there was another struggle that you hadn't faced, and that was your trauma.
Yeah. But people in AA would they would hold the big book up. You just haven't done this right. You just haven't read this right. And you know what? For some people, that's true. Like, I don't want to bash AA, because AA got me to this spot where I'm at.
Right.
To be able to go journey and stand up tall when my therapist was telling me what I was doing. And it's like, instead of fighting back, I was able to listen.
Well, you know, seeing a therapist used to have a lot of stigma to that. People didn't want to admit that, but more people like you are brave enough to say, hey, it saved me. And I think that is the thing that will help other people. It's just you saying, no, it's okay to do that. It's okay to try to figure out what's wrong. So, by the way, I don't want you to go without us putting this picture up, you and this very beautiful woman. Tell us about that.
That's my beautiful wife, Lisa. We met 2 weeks after that accident, head-on collision I was telling you about. We met at this ranch doing a 7-day self-development course. And it's funny how she was just out of a marriage. I had prostate cancer, so I wasn't looking for anybody. And we eyed each other up, but we let each other do the course. And down to the last day of the course, we thought the course went one more day. And so we said that to each other, and then all of a sudden out of my mouth goes, well, I guess we're going for dinner tonight. And you know what? The stories can be told in the year of love for my beautiful wife, Lisa Brearley, because she wrote a book about it. And it's been the most, once again, almost a fairy tale lifestyle, like from her. I didn't know love like this existed. And on that course, there was this obstacle course, and actually I'll go back a smidge. The night before, they gave us a homework to write down our hopes, dreams, and goals. And I went to bed and I wrote down some stuff and went to bed, and without even opening my eyes in the morning, it was just like this light bulb went on. Bam! You ripped yourself off once again. And I got down and dirty, and I put what I really wanted, and I wanted a partner in my life.
Wow.
So fast forward, after breakfast, we go do this exercise, and this gentleman, Felipe, he asked me, he goes, what are your biggest hope? And I said, I want a partner in my life. And he goes to me, what are you going to say to your partner when you wake up in the morning? And I'm going to go, well, I'll roll over and say, hey, babe, I love you. And he goes, why don't you one-up it? And I'm like, how can you one-up that? And he goes, why don't you roll over and go, hey, babe, how can I love you today? And that completely changed it. And that's how we lived our lives for probably the first year and a half. We would ask each other how we could love each other every day. The first part, she lived in Calgary and I lived in Vancouver. So we would Zoom call every morning before we went to work. And that's how we started our day, with that statement, how can I love you today? And was it awkward? Was it strange? Was it weird? Absolutely. But coming from the background I come from, I don't know much about love. So I need to be taught. And really, when you get a new person in your life, a new friend, you don't really even know how to treat them unless they kind of let you know.
That's great.
I want to backtrack a smidge.
Okay.
Just after I got prostate cancer, I was down and out. And like a lot of my story is about me wanting to kill myself and wanting to die. And I went and took the previous course to this 7-day course, which is a 3-day weekend course. And I'm wetting my pants because that's what prostate cancer does. And my self-esteem's about this big. And I really just want to go home and end it. And they spend all weekend trying to upsell us to this second course. And so by Sunday, I'm mad that they're trying. How dare they try and get me to... And I go out to my motorcycle, and I go to get on my motorcycle, and it's like this light bulb went on. It's like, I want to go home and die. But if Chuck, my bike mechanic, told me that I had to put $5,000 into my motorcycle, I would hand him my credit card. And so what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I invest in Scott? And from then, I've spent my time investing in me, because this is my temple. And in fact, I'm doing another stage of my journey. Today, we're heading down to Seattle, and this Dr. Amen, he does this spectral scan of your brain for head injuries, ADD, just to see if it's working right. And it's kind of funny, over a 20-year period, you know those nudges people give you in your life to do stuff, like read a book, and then you hear it from somebody else, read this book? Well, probably 25 years ago, in my previous marriage, a counselor tried to get me to go see him. Then I had a guy from work walk up to my work truck and put his book in my truck going, I think you might want to read this book. And then once again, he's put in my life again. And it's like, how many nudges do we need before we realize it's part of our journey?
Wow. Now, by the way, I see you're a life coach or becoming a life coach. And
Yes.
it sounds like you're ready for that. You're ready to help other people.
Yes. I already have one certification, and we're just starting on another course to advance our certifications a little bit more.
Now, I want to point out to our viewers, we have your web address on the screen, forwardwalkingchoices.com, and Instagram, scott.braley.lifecoach. Go check those out. We're way past time, Scott. I could talk to you all day because you're fascinating.
Okay.
And you've been through a lot of things, and we could all learn from you. And it sounds like you got through them. But I just want to give you a minute to say anything about yourself, about the book, any message you want to give to our viewers.
You know, if you're feeling alone, you're not. And if you need to reach out for help, if you want to just text back and forth a little bit, I'm here. Like, it's not all about making money, and it's about helping people. And does monetary value help? Absolutely. I think as soon as we put a little bit of monetary value on something, we put a little bit more esteem on it. And that's how I think I got to where I am, is I put monetary value on Scott. And I had somebody say yesterday, this lady that we met, she was amazing. She goes, Google your weight in gold, because that's what you're worth. And that's the truth. That's what we're worth.
Let's just finish up with this. You touched on it a little bit in the beginning, but here's a couple pictures. You and your AA mom. Tell us about that.
Well, Phyllis, I went to meetings when I was 17, and I had met Phyllis then, and she was this crazy, whacked out old lady. She wasn't really old, but at 17, she was old.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting in Guelph Reformatory, which is a jail, and I'm at an AA meeting, and who comes in to put a speaker meeting on? Phyllis. And I don't know what she said. I mean, it was a long time ago. And all I know is I had a decision in my life. There were people in prison that wanted me to go out and do the wrong thing. And then Phyllis comes in and offers this opportunity of, like, because when she shared, it's like, she's not as crazy as she used to be. Maybe the people at AA got something. And so I kind of went that way. And that's what I've been going at since I've been 20, searching for a solution.
From 20 years old. And here is a stone, a 20-year stone, and you said you're at 21 years now.
Yes. 21 years clean and sober today.
That's great. Scott, you're brave to come and tell this story, and thank you for telling it. For our viewers, you know somebody who needs this book, so don't hesitate to go find it. Where can people buy it, Scott?
At forwardwalkingchoices.com, or they can find it on Amazon. The hard copy's perfect, if you ask me.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And as I say to our viewers, you know somebody who could use this book, so don't go and buy one. Buy 5 of them, for goodness sake. Make this a thing you give out as you go through your month and your year, because this is just, what a story, Scott. I'm very inspired by you, and you're very brave to come out and tell your story. And I think, as you said, hopefully other people won't feel alone. Other people are going through what they're going through.
Yes.
Thank you for your time, Scott. I hope to have you back again. We could do this for
Thank
hours.
Absolutely. I'll come back again.
All right. And for our viewers, don't go anywhere. We have another author coming up right after this.